Hi there. So I've been on the stage a couple of times before and shared some processes and meditations and hopefully things that have been helpful for you. But today I would like to share something that's been a little bit more personal. And it's a journey that, interestingly, a lot of you have kind of been on with me. It started when we were in Desert Hot Springs, April-ish. I was not feeling well at all. And so much so that I couldn't actually complete the last couple of days. I just didn't feel well and didn't feel like it was the right thing for me to be around you all, not knowing exactly what was going on, but my health has always been something that's just been solid for me. So I figured, okay, this is something, give it a little bit of time and it'll complete itself and we'll be on our way back to healthy again. So that was not what happened. I ended up at an urgent care. They thought that I had pneumonia, that said, we think we need you to go to see a specialist. I was like, okay, specialist, I'll try and get to that. I've got other things that I've got going on, but I'll get to that. Well, the beautiful man in my life, Victor, said, please let me make a phone call for you. And he's a retired surgeon, still has a network of doctor friends that are practicing, and he got me to a pulmonologist who said, yeah, this is probably pneumonia, but we need to drain your lung because there's too much fluid and it might thicken and then you're gonna end up in the hospital. So it's like, okay, drain my lung. Again, let's get this on its way. I just started taking my antibiotics and let's get back to healthy. So again, it was a few days later and he had said, I'm sending the liquid that we drained to pathology. It's a standard thing. I'll call you in a couple of days, keep taking your medications, and I'll let you know it's good, and we'll have a follow-up, it'll be fine. And a couple of days later, that was not the phone call that I got. It was instead, there are too many atypical cells in this fluid, and the cancer word was mentioned for the first time. And I think I went a little bit into shock, because again, that's not something that it really came out of left field for me. And because it came so out of left field, I started to think, is this it for me? Have I done everything here?
We love you. We love you so much.
Thank you.
We love you with all of us, Lord.
I can feel that.
Every part of all your entire journey. You're safe. You're loved.
There is so much love in this room. And that was something that brought me to, no, I don't think that I am. So I knew that I needed to call my sister, and that was not something that I was looking forward to. We lost my mom not that long ago. My dad's health is failing. This seemed like a lot to put on her too, but she needed to know. I knew she could handle it. I knew that I could help her with it. And I also knew that she was going to be one of my biggest advocates in helping me figure out how to move through it. So I made that call, and I spoke to her a couple of days later, and she said, listen, I had a conversation with God, and I told him he cannot have you yet. And that moment was so impactful for me. My sister needed me. If she needed me, there are probably other beings here that need me as well. And I need to figure out how to do this on my terms, but I need to figure out how to take care of this. So I went to an oncologist, and he he said, okay, well, you're really gonna need to go see a oncologist, but I said, okay, so what do you think that they're going to tell me? And he said, well, they're gonna tell you, we're gonna biopsy, there's 3 rounds of chemo, we do surgery, there's 3 more rounds of chemo. And then for 2 years, we're gonna put you on a chemo pill to make sure that, that cycle gets completed. And you'll probably be fine, you're so healthy otherwise, okay. And so I said, okay, what's my alternative to chemo? And if it wouldn't have been so serious, I think I would have started laughing. His face did this total well, there is no other option. It's chemo, you do chemo. And in my head, the voice was like, nope, no, that is not right. That is not what we're doing. So I proceeded to see 4 other oncologists, specialists, and they told me the same thing. Biopsy, 3 rounds of chemo, surgery, 3 more rounds of chemo. And the voice in my head kept getting louder. Nope, nope, that is not right. That is not what we're doing. So I, again, had spoken with my sister. She's worked with a holistic doctor for 20 years, and she had started doing some research, which she's really amazing at, and she said, Shauna, I will support you, whatever you want to do, but if you want to treat this holistically, you need to get out of this lane. You need to stop going to these doctors that are telling you, here's this box, that you need to do this, and that is period, the end. There's no other option. So her doctor mentioned a place called Oasis of Hope, and our Nicole also had a friend that recently came back from Oasis of Hope with breast cancer and had had a great experience. So those 2 really trusted sources for me put me a lot at ease. After coming back from the 4th doctor, and Victor came with me to a couple of them, I got really angry after the 4th one. How can that possibly, I have to leave the country to treat the way that I want to and the way that makes sense. So again, biopsy. Really, that's where you're gonna start. You know that something is going wrong in my body, and you're gonna go in there and poke it while it's still in there? That just doesn't make sense. Then the chemo, that just has never, for me, that just has never made sense, that you get a body more sick to get it better and tear down that immune system before I'm going to surgery. It felt like there had to be a better option than that. So I sent all my information to Oasis of Hope. They came back, they said, well, what we think is the best course of action is all of these therapies, vitamin C drip, vitamin K drip, something called Laetrile, which is made from apricot seeds, and it is kind of a natural form of radiation. And then there's something called the dendritic cell vaccine. And all of this therapy seems like it's building up my system. And I actually kind of started to get excited about it, because I felt like if I start this way, then I'm gonna be Superwoman by the time I'm done. Thank you. Thanks. And I am going to have this team that is going to set me up for health for the rest of my life, which feels like a lot of years to be here still. So, so I decided that's what I was going to do, and I am so blessed that that protocol was amazing enough, but they also, they've been there for 60 years. It was a father, Dr. Contreras, that started it. It's now his son and family that run it. They want you to be supported while you're there. I made a phone call with them initially and said, I'm trying to figure out what to do with my work. Do people come down and work there? What are the side effects? What does this all look like? And the woman said, you know what, Shauna? It is our goal to make you start feeling better the moment you walk through the doors. And that truly was what happened. It was such a magical place. And we talk about, wanting to feel supported and loved, and that place just embodies it. All of the people that are there, all of the patients that are there, they have a chef that cooks 3 meals a day. They have cooking classes so that you can take all of that home with you and continue to feel good and stay healthy once you get home. They encourage you to bring somebody with you. Every room has 2 beds in it. I was on the 2nd floor. I went to surgery on the 1st floor, came back. The nurses' stations was down the hallway. It really was magical. So also, I was able to bring people with me. So Victor came down, he drove me down. I do think I had a moment when we were crossing the border of panic and tears and what did I just agree to do? Going into Mexico for cancer treatment. But we got to the Oasis, and I looked at him and I said, listen, if we were pulling up to Hoag Hospital right now, I honestly don't think that I would get out of the car. But let's go see. Let's go see what this is about. So we went in, and it just, it's very simple, but it's so just peaceful and lovely. And within 2 hours, we were settled into a room, and a doctor came and did an exam. And Victor had been with me for the last 2 appointments in the United States, and the doctor did the exam. He said, this is what I think is going on, and somebody will assess and we'll be back to you tomorrow. And Victor looked at me when the doctor left and he said, that is the most thorough exam that you've gotten of all of the other 4 doctors. He said, I just don't understand why no one wanted to actually touch you. They wanted to read the paperwork and see, and they kept telling me, well, we're not really sure, but once we get in to do the biopsy, we'll figure things out. Well, then why did you do a PET scan, the CAT scan, all of these different things? So also, Oasis had all of that information. So the next morning, Dr. Contreras and his team came in and they said, hey, what makes most sense to us is we take this tumor out, we do surgery right away, it's going to be a lot less taxing on your body, and then whatever's left behind, it'll be so much easier to clean up. And I just looked at him and I was like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. Let's do that. And Victor also said, oh my gosh, this is what I've been asking. Why can't we just do this? But that was not the option that we had here. So again, such a beautiful experience. I think actually everybody there had been through chemo before they got there. And it either hadn't worked for them or they couldn't tolerate it. So it was really amazing. Everybody was so willing to share their stories and open their hearts and be rooting for everybody else. And there were some just beautiful stories of people that had been given 6 months to live here, 6 weeks to live here, and ended up there, and it's 2.5 years later. Or it's, they're healthier, feeling healthier than they've ever been. So, going through it that way, making that choice, knowing that I knew what not to do, but being open to the possibility then of what could come in and what could become a reality for me. It couldn't have been any more beautiful, the way that it all flowed through and happened, and those magical people that are standing for what they know to be right. So my Dr. Colley that is here, I so appreciate that he fast-tracked everything and got me to a place where we knew, okay, this is what's going on in my body, Now let's figure out what to do. I didn't like his option. And he actually, so he had to continue to drain my lung because it kept filling up. My sister, not my doctor, told me it was a side effect of ovarian cancer that your lung fills with fluid. So that cough, I kept having that cough, which was horrible. So he would drain my lung, and I wanted him to continue to, and he knew that I was against chemotherapy, so he, kept kind of subtly telling me, don't run off to Mexico and do anything. Don't jump into the volcano, is what he called it. And I was like, okay, just need you to drain my lung. And I'm going to Mexico next week, but I didn't tell him that. I said, I'm looking at these other therapies that are going to support the chaos that, that otherwise will happen. And he said, okay, do that. Well, I had an appointment with him right after I got back, and I knew that there was nothing in my lung because I wasn't coughing anymore. I started getting my energy back 2 days after surgery. I started feeling like, okay, I've had surgery, I need to recover from that. But I started getting my energy back, so I knew when I went to see him that I was in really good shape. And he took a look at me, and he did the ultrasound on my lung, and he literally said, how did they do that? It was so amazing. And he just said to me, you and another patient are going to Mexico for treatment. You're both doing well. You're both thriving. Who am I to say this is not the right thing? That there's not something else out there? And that's something that has been really amazing to me, to be able to share that. And there are so many other stories that I could tell you, and I will invite, because I've heard so many times, I don't know if you want to talk about it. I don't know how you feel about it. If you want to hear it, I want to tell you. If you've got a question, just let me know. I am so happy to share any of this because it's been just such a beautiful, and I know there's no time and space, but that was May, March, April, and this is August. Thank you. Your love and support have made that something that I could stick to, what I knew was right, and move through it in such a graceful way. So thank you so much.
Thank God. Oh. Wow. Just amazing, right? And that she followed that God, that knowing the angels through this journey. And now we get Shauna.